Hey everybody, welcome back to CineFix Now. I'm Casey Redman, and today I'm going to tell you about Tomorrowland. Go figure. Alright, as this film is brimming with optimistic feelings, I'm going to go with the great parts about it. First of all, this is the most Walt Disney feeling movie I've seen in a long time. Now what do I mean by that? Well, mainly it's the visions of Walt himself. Like, this man was a dreamer, an innovator, kind of a crackpot, you might say. The whole concept of Tomorrowland is based off of Walt Disney's idea of Epcot, also known as the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. He wanted to build this city where people lived and worked, and it was like this perfect community. So the film does a really great job of showing what that might have looked like. Also, if you're a big fan of robots, you're gonna have a good time. There's all kinds of robots. You got the cute little Wall-E type of robot. You got the ass-kicking robot. You got the robot that has a weird smile because it doesn't understand human emotions. Now you're also thinking, well, Tomorrowland, you know, this is also a place at the park and there's lots of rides. Is there any of that in the film? Well, there is. There's a lot of great camera movements that makes you feel like you're on Space Mountain, which is a lot of fun unless you're really old and you have problems with motion sickness. Speaking of old people though, the humor is right up your alley. There's a lot of pratfalls and some really great Thomas Edison jokes, so look forward to that. Now, the things that I found a little disappointing, mainly the characters. You got these two main characters, right? You got George Clooney, who's finally playing the grumpy old man. Woo! And then you got the, the girl, the dreamer girl, who's, being dragged through this crazy, adventure. That's the main problem. She's being dragged through the adventure. I didn't feel like she was really pushing the plot forward. So it kind of felt like this power struggle between Clooney and Robertson. I was like, I don't know who I'm supposed to be connecting with. It just got a little messy. I feel like they could have just centered around one person a little more. And Clooney was just more interesting to me. The other big problem to me was the climax. It was a little anticlimactical. Now this is completely spoiler free, but imagine a scenario where it's like, guys, we have 5 seconds to save the world. What do we gotta do? Gotta push this button. Now again, that's not literally what happens, but that's just sort of what it feels like. If you're looking at the plot on paper, the stakes are very high. The problem is it didn't feel imminent. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, there could be this really bad thing, maybe, that we should probably stop. Also, the villain wasn't quite villainous enough for me. Like, he wasn't evil enough for me to want him to get his comeuppance. But all in all, it's about the message. And in fact, it feels less like a movie and more like a PSA. Not that that's a bad thing, because it's a really good message, one that I think a lot of people should hear. You get all these movies like Terminator and Mad Max, where it's just like, yeah, humanity's pretty much doomed and there's nothing we can do about it. This movie kind of fosters a little optimism in you, which I think is great. If you're old, you're gonna love it. If you're a Walt Disney fanatic, you're gonna love it. If you're a kid, you should see it. You may not understand it, but you'll love it anyway. If you're not into all of these really happy feelings, you're just gonna go see Mad Max again and be happy. So, that's great. So those are my thoughts on Tomorrowland. Have you seen it? Are you wanting to see it? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to CineFix for more awesome movie content every day. There you go, Mad Max.
Yeah, didn't you mention Mad Max in your...
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense then.
Things aren't so bad.
Things aren't so bad, Max.